This is Dan Mumm. Today we're going to do a quick lesson with a really cool pattern. It's an A minor sweep arpeggio pattern in multiple positions, but we're not just going to be playing a straight arpeggio. We're going to be adding a sharp seventh in there to give it more of a neoclassical sound. And we'll be using that sharp seventh a little differently than if we were just adding it to the arpeggio. You could think of this as an A minor arpeggio with an added sharp seven or major seventh, but we're not going to look at it that way for today. Instead, we're going to look at this sharp seven as being more of a passing tone or a melodic note. This opens up a lot of potential for changing the rhythm of a pattern, so you can fit it into different time signatures, different contexts. It also opens up different harmonic possibilities for how you can use something like this. But that's something we can get into another time. For today, we're going to focus exclusively on the pattern. We're going to break it down part by part so you can really see what's going on. So this is a sweep-picked pattern, except for the very last note of the pattern. Every string will be picked only once, and each of those pick strokes is a down-pick motion. For strings that have more than one note, we'll be using legato techniques such as sliding, hammer-ons, and pull-offs. But you still want to get that fluid sweep-picking motion for each string. So you can kind of think of it like your sweep-picking gets a little bit of a pause in between when you need to play more than one note. To download the free tabs, check out the link that's in the description of this video. The tabs are in PDF format and include the fingering for the fretting hand as well as the picking directions for the picking hand. We're going to be adding these sharp sevenths from A harmonic minor into an already just standard A minor arpeggio. It's just the three notes of the A minor triad. So let me show you the skeleton of that, show you the basic arpeggio that we'd be playing. So we have this position here. We have this position, the standard 5-string minor sweep arpeggio. And it goes all the way up to the high A here. We're going to be adding that little melody with the sharp 7 on the root notes, all the way up except for on the last one when we get up to the high A. Starting on the low A, on the 5th fret of the 6th string, we're going to use our first finger and we're going to slide down to the sharp 7, the G sharp on the 4th fret. And we slide right back up again. And then we're going to hammer on here to the C on the 8th fret. Now that's just with one pick stroke. It's all legato. So we slide down, slide up again, and hammer on. The reason we use the 3rd finger here is to make it an easier transition when we switch up to the 7th position here, when we go up to the 7th fret with the 1st finger. So check this out here. Right, when we get up to that E there. Of course, at that point, we're picking again. We're continuing the sweep pick motion. Then we're going to be hammering on to the A on the 12th fret of the 5th string. At that point, we have another sharp 7, another little, melodic note there. That's this. Same idea as here. Right, so we've got an A, G sharp, A. So this is using the standard 5-string minor sweep arpeggio that you probably are already pretty well familiar with. Again, that's this pattern. So now we're just going to be incorporating that little extra 2 notes in there, starting with the root note, sharp 7, back to the root note to continue the pattern. Standard fingering, except now we're going to be using the 3rd finger to play the sharp 7. And then continuing down the pattern with a sweep picking motion. Notice that all the pick strokes are down strokes. Now at that point, we have another A, and we're going to do the same thing again, like we did here. Now it's going to be, so we have, let's look at all that together so far. That can work as a complete pattern just on its own. Okay, so let's continue up from there. If we start on this A, so we have the down pick, the pull off and hammer on, then we're going to sweep down to the first string. But we're not going to be hammering onto the 12 like you normally would do with the, right? We're going to be sliding to the 12th fret with the first finger. Okay, so. And from there, instead of hammering onto the A here, we're going to hammer onto the G sharp with the third finger. Because we're going to be playing that sharp 7. Without the, starting on the root, going back, we're just going to go right up through it as if it's part of an arpeggio. And we're going to pick that last note just to have more attack there and allow us to have a little bit of a better vibrato. Let's put that together with the 5-string pattern. One more time. Now let's put the whole pattern together. Anything that's too difficult to take all at once from the beginning, all at the same time, can easily be broken up into sections like this. You just break it down into little pieces that are easy for you to learn. You practice those little pieces individually, you start to piece them back together, and before you know it, you'll have the whole thing down. Just take your time with it, work with the metronome, don't try to rush through it. You're only going to get sloppy technique that way. If you'd like to learn more about sweep picking, check out my course, Sweep Picking Mastery. This is Dan Mumm. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.